Next story appears to paint a more optimistic picture, and it's talking about Nigeria's remarkable economic achievements, which are considered to be a source of great pride. As of 2024, the country emerged as one of Africa's largest economies and ranks among the global top 20, driven by growth in sectors like agriculture, the creative industries, and the digital economy. Well, that's the message from the national president of NASIMA. NASIMA is National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, Delaware. The agency explains the challenges and successes highlighted by the commissioning of the Dangote refinery, which is a testament to the ingenuity of the Nigerian private sector. National President of NASIMA, Mr. Delaware, joins me live on the program this evening. Happy Independence Day to you, Mr. Oye. Thank you so much for joining us. It seems that there is a part of this economy that you understand better than most of the people we just spoke with in that report. Where are you getting these figures from? How come many of us are not feeling it?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. We are the operators of the economy. What I mean by that is NASIMA is the largest private business organization in Nigeria. We have 72 locations in Nigeria where we operate from. That is through our city and state chambers of commerce. So they are heavily involved, both at the national, subnational, so at the local government level. There's no other organization like NASIMA, Nigeria's Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, with such reach, both at the grassroots and in all our major cities. So we feel the vibes from our people. That is the basis on which we make the commendation to Mr. President and Nigeria. So if you compare what was predicted for Nigeria before this government came in, the impression is to transform Nigeria to the current travails in the Middle East, that Nigeria will have by now scattered and that there will be no nation to call one. That is why we congratulate Mr. President first for encouraging the cohesiveness, most importantly, still being together as one good country.
Interesting way you have put it, but I'm also looking at some concerns that you've expressed recently, and it's about CBN's decision to hike the monetary policy to 27%. But if you listen to Mr. President today, he seemed to have highlighted what he called CBN's disciplined approach to monetary policy management, citing stability and predictability in the foreign exchange market. How do you reconcile your concerns with Mr. President's outlook, considering the potential impact on business and economic growth?
Well, first of all, I don't want to disagree with my president today, but as an operator, I will tell you that the CBN has not done very well with the private sector, because all the policies of the CBN have been targeted at the private sector. There's been no distinct discipline extended to the public sector. And I've had time to react to the CBN earlier that the way the private sector is almost being put out of the economy, all the various government agencies, they're all raising bonds. So most of the banks don't give us money anymore. They are more interested in giving the bonds because they are making over 20% on the bonds. So they've actually put the private sector out of business, at least in the market space. And the second other issue is the issue of the exchange rate. It has gone from bad to worse. So I don't see what hope we are getting from there. From a naira that is trading over $2,000 to a pound, or to about 1.7 now in the open market, the US dollar. There's no way you can plan. To even couple with this, it seems as if the fiscal policy is not talking to the monetary policy. We don't have a 2024 fiscal policy. So in a nutshell, I completely disagree. We in the private sector will completely disagree with CPM policy as it affects business. It will not be business friendly, it will not be able to stabilize the naira. Most importantly, there is even no measure to know. The naira should not trade more than 1,000 naira to a dollar. It should not. And most of my members in the manufacturing sector, they have goods that the manufacturers send, they are not able to sell. But it's too expensive for the people. So the CBN has not, for our own assessment, has not been market friendly to the private sector. And I've suggested to the CBN governor the opportunity we have that you can deal with the public sector easily. Say the issue of, he's talking about the issue of that is a political issue that they cannot be seen to be doing submerged. I say it's very easy. Get your banks, you regulate the banks, give them a sectoral allocation. You shouldn't fund any public sector more than 20% of your loans portfolio. If you do that, nobody, if a UBA gives that kind of directive, nobody's going to accuse the CBN of controlling the subnational. So we have many ways of killing a rat, and I think the CBN should engage more with the risk stakeholders, not only the risk stakeholders are people who use their facilities, the loans, people that run businesses. But when you get banks into a room, people will regulate. That is not a stakeholders.
Mr. Oye, do you see some silver lining in our dark clouds with the optimism that Dangote is sharing that we're probably going to mop up the 40% exchange rate that we usually spend on importing fuel? Is that something that you expect will make significant impact?
I can tell you, as a private sector, the Dangote refinery stands a huge chance to change most of our challenges. But the government has to give him more enabling environment. There's nowhere in the world the government does not support its own. If you look at what the Chinese are doing with their private company to their Exim Bank, they give them all the support. And that is why we'll be writing to the NDC and then UPROC to make sure they give everything Dangote needs. Because if Dangote is able to take off our energy needs locally, most of the people who buy foreign exchange to import are they have the highest demand for FX. So, and you should, there's no reason with telling us that you prefer to, because as part of your energy dependence, you must import, even though Dangote can meet the requirement. I've never heard of that anywhere in the world. If Dangote refinery were in Cotonou, we'll all be going there on pilgrimage to beg him. So we should not undermine him. Do everything we need. He will solve two problems for us. He will solve the problem of demand for FX. He will cure that, and that will give more money to the private sector, other sectors of the economy. So we need to see it from a very global perspective and find a way to encourage him, make sure that whatever is required for him to succeed. And I'm very happy when the government did the Naira to Naira arrangement with Dangote. We have not seen the full effect. If some people, some independent marketers say they want to import, we should have a policy to protect our own. What are they importing for? How should they be competing with him? As far as we know, the price we are going to get from him is far below that, then we should encourage him. The Naira to Naira business.
Well, that Naira trade we expect to come into effect this month. Perhaps that is when we'll begin to see its full impact. But they say we're at a critical stage in our nation's history and that everyone is a stakeholder, especially the private sector. How do you think the private sector can better contribute to promoting unity and stability? Are there sacrifices that the sector also have to make?
We've always made the sector, we have only one country. The highest stakeholder in any government country is someone that has invested. You want peace, you want things to work so that you make money. Nobody can build in the midst of fire. So the biggest stakeholder is someone that has invested. And that is why we've always asked the government and the government agencies to do genuine stakeholders engagement before there are policy changes or before the policies are conceived. I have just come back from Michigan as part of the Hunger 2024, and you need to see how the government there encourages private business. The difference in Nigeria is that the government is in front of business, while the private sector follows. Whereas everywhere in the world, the government is behind you and gives you the law and the policies for you to succeed. It's only in Nigeria you see the government person who has no knowledge how to run a refinery or try to repair one after taking 1.5 billion, trying to tell you we deployed 10 staff to Dangote to teach Dangote how to run his own. If you are failing an exam, I've never seen where a failed person leads a class. So we should be careful.
All right.
One of our highest eight wonder of the world is the Dangote refinery. And everyone is, when we were in the UN last year, the only question they wanted to hear from Nigeria is, how is Dangote going to work? Nobody believed it will work. And it has worked. And it's a complete EPC contract. What it means is all the engineering put to that country from scratch were done in-house here in Nigeria with Indian support. What that tells you is one of the 8 wonders of the world. And I have
Well, I guess we lost connection with Mr. Adeloye, who's national president of NASIMA. The conversation ongoing. Nigeria is 64. The expectation from government is top-notch. They are also promising that it does look like things are taking shape, especially the reforms, according to Mr. President, are beginning to show positive signs. We're looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to see how that will impact on nation building and indeed the quality of life for Nigerians moving forward. Mr. Adeloye, that's our time on the show today. Thank you so much for your contribution. We're going to continue this conversation subsequently. That's our show today as well. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Ogutoye. See you again on the news at 7.